Hi, I'm Amy Romeo of Amy Romeo Crafts, and in this video I'll be showing you how to make these Snowflake keychains using faux leather heat transfer vinyl and a Cricut. If you're ready to learn how to make this project, let's go ahead and get started. The SVG file for this project is available in my shop. It's part of my holiday faux leather crafting event where I'm sharing a brand new holiday SVG and video tutorial every day for 20 days. I'll leave a link on the screen for you so you can get the SVG, or you can visit amyromeo.com/holiday to see all of the event's designs. Let's go over the tools and materials we'll be using to make these Snowflake keychains. I'll be using the Cricut Maker today, but you can use any of the current Cricut machines, including the Explorer Air 2, the Explorer 3, the Cricut Joy Extra, or the Maker 3, because all of these machines come standard with the fine point blade, which is the blade that I use when cutting faux leather. So this project has two elements. There's a bottom faux leather layer, and then there's a top heat transfer vinyl layer. You could also use permanent vinyl if that's what you have on hand. So the faux leather that I'll be using, I'll use a white today, but you could definitely use a color. Faux leather comes on rolls and in sheets, and I'll leave my links for all the materials that I use for this project for you. But I'll just be using some white, and then I have 3 different colors and types of heat transfer vinyl that I will apply on top to create the snowflake effect. So I have some glitter heat transfer vinyl as well as some solid. You could use any combination of these different types of heat transfer vinyls. You could also use foil iron-on. Really, it's up to you. But choose 3 different contrasting colors and types of heat transfer vinyl for the most interesting effect on your snowflake. Then to press the heat transfer vinyl onto the faux leather, I'll be using my Easy Press Mini set to the low setting. You could also use a regular Easy Press set to 265 degrees. To cut the faux leather, I'll use the purple Strong Grip cutting mat, and to cut the vinyl, I will cut that on my green standard grip cutting mat. If you're using the Cricut Joy machines, you can use the green Joy size mats for both materials. Some other tools that we'll need some key rings. These are split key rings. This is a 1 1/4 inch size. I like this size. They're available in gold and silver finishes. We'll also need some weeding tools. You can use a pin pen style or a hook style. Some craft scissors. I also like to have some small curved scissors on hand or embroidery scissors. These are great for trimming up the edge of faux leather as needed. We'll use some blue painter's tape to help us tape our faux leather down to the mat and get good cuts. And then finally, we'll use some glue to glue our keychain together. I'll be using some Fabri-Tac, but you could also use any good fabric glue or a craft glue like Bearly Art Glue. I have a trick that I'll show you at the end of the video for helping us get a really nice seal on these keychains. So let's hop over into Design Space and I'll show you how the SVG is set up, and we'll start to cut out our mats and assemble the keychains. So starting with a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, you'll click on Upload and then Upload Image, and you'll browse to where the unzipped SVG file is for this project. Click on it to select it and click Open. And then you'll see a preview of the 3 different snowflake keychain designs I've created for you. Click on Upload, and then click on the keychains here in your recent uploads row and click Add to Canvas. So you'll see the 3 different snowflake designs, and these are fold over keychains, which means this will be the front of the keychain, this will be the back. This is little bridge area. This is where the key ring will sit, and these 2 halves will fold over and be glued together. So you'll have a front and back keychain design using the faux leather on the bottom, and then 3 different colors of heat transfer vinyl on the top. So I've created 3 different snowflakes for you to choose from, but I'm going to delete 2 of them, so I only show you how to make 1 today, just to keep things simple on our canvas. So to delete the shapes I'm not going to make, I need to ungroup, and then I can select the 2 keychains that I'm not going to cut now, and we're left with just 1. So this is sized perfectly for a keychain, so I don't need to adjust the size. I'll just click the Make It button. I'm cutting my materials on a mat. And the first thing we want to do is go through and mirror each of our mats, because faux leather and heat transfer vinyl cut in reverse. If you happen to be using permanent vinyl for the vinyl layers, then you would only mirror the faux leather mat and not the permanent vinyl mats, because permanent vinyl cuts right side up. So let's just go back through our mats quickly. What I like to do is drag my faux leather shape away from the edges of the mat and also make a note of what size faux leather I need to cut and put on my mat so the shape will cut out completely. So it looks like I need a piece of faux leather that's about 3 inches wide and just a little over 7 inches tall. And then I'll click through each of my vinyl mats here, just drag my shapes apart a little bit. This helps when I'm weeding out these shapes to give myself a little bit of room so they're not right on top of each other. There we go. So let's click back on the faux leather mat. I like to cut that one first in a faux leather project. I'll click continue. And to cut faux leather, I like to use the faux leather paper thin setting with more pressure. If you don't have this setting bookmarked as a favorite like I do, you can click on Browse All Materials and search for it. Keep in mind, if you're using the Explorer Air 2, you'll need to turn your dial to custom before you can see this setting. For the other vinyl mats, I'll cut them according to the manufacturer's recommendation based on the type of vinyl I'm cutting. So for regular Caesar Easy Weed, which is what I'm using for my vinyl, you can use any vinyl you'd like. But for Caesar Easy Weed, I like to use the vinyl cut setting with default pressure. And then I'm using some Caesar glitter heat transfer vinyl, which is a little thicker. So I like to use the glitter vinyl setting with default pressure. And then I repeat the cut one time. But you'll cut your vinyl mats depending on the vinyl brand and type that you're using. Okay, so let's hop back over to my overhead camera. We'll get our mats cut out and I'll show you how to put the snowflake keychains together. So I've already trimmed my faux leather down to that size I noted in the mat preview screen. And I know it's hard to see, but the faux leather has a shiny side, which is the front, and then it has sort of a almost felted fabric texture on the back. I'm going to place my faux leather pretty side down, so the felt back is up on my purple strong grip cutting mat. I'm going to press it down all over with my hands, and then I'm going to use some blue painter's tape just to tape it down on all sides. This is going to help keep the faux leather from moving and shifting while it's cutting. I already have my faux leather paper thin setting ready to go, so I'll just load the mat and begin the cut. So the mat has cut one time, and before I unload the mat, I want to check to see if the cut went all the way through. So I'm just using my sharp weeding tool. I like to use the hook for this, and I'm just getting underneath the edge here and lifting it up. And this cut looks like it went all the way through quite nicely. However, if it didn't, you can repeat your cut just by pressing the cut button on the larger machines, or if you're using the Cricut Joy, the option to rerun the cut will be on your screen in Design Space. But this looks good, so I'll unload the mat and remove my cut shape. And I can show you how that fold over keychain works. So here's the inside, the felted back. It'll just fold over like this. We'll glue the front and the back together, and then our little key ring will sit right up here. So the faux leather shape is cut out. Now I'm going to return to Design Space and cut out my vinyl layers, and then I'll show you how we press the vinyl onto the snowflake keychain base. So I finished cutting and weeding all of my vinyl layers. I've cut them apart from each other so that I can easily press them in order. And what I'm going to do is start with the outside layer, because that's going to help me work inwards in terms of knowing where to place my shapes. So I've got an outside snowflake layer, which we'll do first, then this one, and then the snowflake goes inside. So I chose to use 3 different similar colors of light blue. These would also be really pretty in different colors. They could all be light pastel shades, or you could do rainbow colors, or whatever you wanted to do. These snowflakes are really meant to be easy and a quick, fun project. So we're going to take the first vinyl layer shape, and I'm going to lay it onto my faux leather keychain base. What I want to do is make sure that I have a nice even border of the faux leather all around the layer. So do you see that? How the white is all the way around, nice and even, all the way around the whole front of the snowflake. I'm going to hold that in place so it doesn't move. I have my Easy Press Mini set to the low setting. I'm going to use that little Teflon sheet that I've trimmed down to size to cover. And I like to sort of hold it in place so my vinyl doesn't move. You could also use butcher paper or parchment paper as a cover sheet. So what I'm going to do now is just press all over for about 10 seconds of coverage on every area. I'm moving my little Easy Press Mini out of force of habit, but if you're using a traditional Easy Press, you would just set it on top and, let it press for 10 seconds. Then we'll remove the cover sheet, and holding the faux leather flat, we're going to try to very slowly peel away that clear carrier sheet. And you want to peel slowly because if the vinyl lifts up, you can very easily place that clear cover sheet right back down and continue pressing. But that looks pretty good. So now we'll take our next inside layer and we'll try and place it inside. Again, making sure we have a nice even border on all sides, sort of a white outline. And that looks good. So again, we'll cover and press. So we'll remove the cover sheet again and very carefully peel back. And then we'll repeat with the little middle snowflake layer. Again, just lining it up so it's sort of centered inside all of the other layers. And there we go. That's how the snowflake looks on one side. Now I'm just going to turn it around and repeat pressing all of those layers on this side. So this is what it looks like with both of the sides pressed. And this one is still warm and this one is not, and it started to curl a little bit. So what I want to do is just cover and press one more time on both sides so that they're warm, and I can place them underneath my heat pressing pad for just a moment and let them cool flat. So I mentioned I have a trick for getting the keychains to be nice and flat, and you'll have a really tight edge all around the faux leather after it's glued because of a little trick. And for my little trick, we need a heavy book, which I have right here. And I wanted to mention also, I'll be showing you how to attach a little optional tassel. These are just faux suede and they are on Amazon, and they have different metal color tops. There are silver tops. There are also gold tops, so you'll be able to find a tassel that matches your keyring hardware if that's what you choose to do. And then to attach them, we'll just be using some 10mm jump rings. But first, let's glue our keychain together. So our two keychain sides are nice and flat and cool. What we want to do is take our keyring, fold or roll one of the little keychain halves so that we can put our key ring on in the middle, and then lay it flat on your surface. And using your glue, you want to glue all over the back of just one side. You want to get close to the edge, but not all the way to the edge, because when we press this underneath the book, the glue will naturally seep toward the edge, which is perfect. You don't want to put any glue on this bridge or on the other side. It's not necessary. Then we'll just fold this over, keeping the keyring out of the way. Then just take a moment to match up the front and the back sides. And you can see now the edges, you can see the seam is open and it doesn't look like it's going to come together nice and flat, but it will, you'll see. We're just going to place this underneath our heavy book for about an hour. And then we'll return. I'll show you how we got the edges nice and flat, and then I'll show you quickly how to attach that tassel. Okay, so my snowflake keychain has been drying flat underneath my heavy book for an hour, and actually while this has been drying, I did make the two other snowflake keychains and put them under here to dry as well, so I could show you all three of them together. So I'll go ahead and remove the book, and what you want to do is just take a look at the edges. If there's any glue that has sort of seeped out, you can pick that off. That Fabri-Tac is really easy to just sort of pull off. But see how the edge is very nice and tightly sealed? Let me see if you can see that. See how it almost looks flat and seamless? Remember how it looked before where it was a little bit open? So anyway, underneath the book is a great technique for pressing glued faux leather items flat. So we have our little split ring key ring already attached, and I want to attach that little faux suede tassel. I think I'm going to go with this one. So these have little loops at the top, but the loop is not large enough to slide onto the key ring. So we need to use a jump ring. So I like the 10mm size jump rings. And then I just use 2 pair of flat nose jewelry making pliers. And I like to grip the jump ring at the 9 o'clock position, and then also with the other pliers I'll grip at the 3 o'clock position, and then just twist one wrist to open. And then I'll attach my little tassel, hook it onto the split ring key ring, and then just close it right back up. Now I'll add the little tassels to the other 2 key rings. And here's what all 3 of the Snowflake keychains look like together. I hope you like this project. If you want to see all of the 20 holiday faux leather crafts I've created for my faux leather crafting event, I'll leave a link to a playlist for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.